I mean, this is something I literally look forward to. I wake up on Tuesday mornings and I think to myself, what a fucking joke that I get to have the conversation that I'm about to have this afternoon with a man who's the reigning MVP of the NFL. Fresh off of a win over the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Woo. Hell yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah!
What's up, dude?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, why'd you shave? What are we doing? Why'd you shave? Does that have something to do with the costume or everybody? It was kind of a conversation piece there early on Sunday.
Just mixing it up, man. Just whenever the grays get a little too overpowering, I think, hey, let me just cut them back.
Yeah, I got that down here at the bottom. That means we're distinguished, you know what I mean? I think that means that we're distinguished, but also you look baby-faced right now all of a sudden with this shave. Fresh off a big win over the Steelers, wearing a power lift shirt, you know, because you like to get under the bar and squat around. How do you feel going into week 5? How's the body feel? How's the mind feel?
Yeah, body and mind feel good. I like where our team's at. We've played a couple of really good defenses back-to-back. Scored 30 and scored 27. 2 wins, you know, without David Bakhtiari, without Elton Jenkins, Jair getting hurt, no Zadarius Smith. I feel pretty good about our team right now.
Yeah, as you should. Go ahead, AJ.
Hey, what about though? During that game, you were openly flirting with Mike Tomlin from the field. You weren't really focused in the moment, but I'll give you a pass for that. What was that about? And did you guys get to talk after the game?
I'm a big Mike Tomlin fan. I have been for a long time. I like the way that he speaks about his team. I like the way that he goes about his business. I like his confidence. I've heard nothing but good things from guys that have played there. I like Mike Tomlin. And I also liked it. He called that timeout. We tried to catch him with 12 on the field. He was kind of smirking about it. I like that. I respect that.
A little gamesmanship there, because I think he had to sprint, by the way, to the ref. So I think he had to sprint down there and get it. You obviously realizing it was him that called the timeout. I think Matt Patricia has told us the story of staring you down, trying to see who would make a move first whenever he was at Detroit and he was running the defenses. Is there any other coaches that you've had those types of moments where they understand and you understand that this is open Sicilian, this is closed Sicilian, this is chess right now? Is there any other moments other than just the Tomlin one that we saw?
There's been some back and forth with guys over the years, mostly guys that I don't really like. One guy that I do like, Rod Marinelli, he is, he's been in the league forever. And I believe his daughter is married to our defensive coordinator. I think that's the whole connection there. But Rod, he would flip me off from time to time on the field, and I'd flip him off right back. We had some fun back and forths, but I'm a big Rod Marinelli fan, and I loved, some of the comments that would come my way from him. Competitive guy for sure, super competitive, but a good human, I think, at his core.
Well, I don't know if whenever you and Rod Marinelli were telling each other to fuck off, the exact same conversations were happening after you and Tomlin had your moment, because that continued to feed the flames of Aaron Rodgers going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Pittsburgh would vote you mayor of Pittsburgh right now if you wanted to be the mayor of Pittsburgh right now. So much so that we even got a message from a prominent Pittsburgher who we wanted to share with you, Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, Rodgers. Yeah, I seen you was giving love to Pittsburgh last week, but I figured out your angle. You get the whole time to lower its guard, butter it in a sub, and then bam, you slice through our defense like it's a hot permani sandwich. The next time, go a little easier on us. You put us down like that dog at the end of Marley and Me. And if you do ever want to come to Pittsburgh, we got a lot to offer. For example, we put fries on everything. They'll even put them in your Blizzard down Dairy Queens. And secondly, you're never more than 2 minutes away from cell phone repair or a vape shop that used to be a Pizza Hut.
True.
You like Jeopardy, right? The Steelers can offer this to Aaron Rodgers in terms of pass protection. What is a wet paper towel? Jeez Louise. Sorry, who is Jeez Louise? And what has Green Bay got that's so special anyhows? Cheese. We'll get you a Lunchable when you get here. Them got cheese in them. And hey, AJ Hawk, that name sound made up. What are you, some kind of G.I. Joe? Were your parents a couple of military helicopters? Bottom line, Aaron, if you're ever in town, we'll take you out for a beer. Hey, maybe we'll take you over to McAfee's old stomping grounds near the Golden Mile Highway. McAfee used to live over there in Plum, more like Prune. That's all old people are here now. And finally, to show our respects, I'm adding an authentic Aaron Rodgers action figure to the game room collection. Look at that. Yeah, I got it from a guy down at the flea market who also sells gyros. I look like Jesus if he was in the WWF. And I don't know why he ain't wearing pants. Is that some kind of weird thing all you people from California do? Or...
Anyways, things like this, because you and Tomlin flirt, and then you complimenting Pittsburgh. And I think this is going to happen all year, no matter what you say. And shout out to Pittsburgh Dad, by the way. Shout out. Shout out
Pittsburgh Dad. He's the best. We used to watch that. I've been around Pittsburgh people most of my football career. And Alex Van Pelt, also from Pittsburgh, played at Pitt. He got me onto Pittsburgh Dad, and we used to watch those videos, and those are unbelievable. And you talk to the coaches who've been around Pittsburgh for a long time, and they're also big fans of Pittsburgh Dad as well. They say that's, the accent's dead on, the stuff he talks about, John Eagle, and when he goes to the water park downtown, they're closing the ride. Is it Dolly? What is it called?
Sandcastle? Are you talking about Sandcastle?
No.
Kennywood?
He's riding some wooden,
the mouse.
Log jammer.
No, that's a Kennywood, though.
Yeah.
Whatever the fucking case. He's
Kennywood.
great. Yeah.
Kennywood.
Yeah.
It was Kennywood.
It's not closed, by the way. Kennywood's still open, Aaron. Jesus.
Kennywood's open?
Yeah, Kennywood's open. It means your fly's down as well around Pittsburgh. But Kennywood is still open. The potato patch still exists. We love Pittsburgh, Dad. But these conversations are going to happen about you, right? After what happened this past offseason and with how the season's going to go. And after reading some excerpts of Ram Dass's Be Here Nah, you know what I mean? You got to be, because no matter where we go in the future, we'll always be where? Right here will always be. Is that how you deal with potential outside distractions? Because that's going to get loud. I mean, in Pittsburgh, it was headline news in the night and in the morning that you were potentially going to be a Steeler. Pittsburgh Dad, obviously, all worked up. All of Pittsburgh's worked up, especially after the Tomlin thing. That's probably going to happen a couple times this year. Do you ever think about that? Or is it, Ram Dass, be here in the moment right now. Let's win as much as we can.
It's that, and then you pair it with the book from this week, which I won't tell you, but look, I'm just speaking the truth. Ask me a question about Mike Tomlin. I'm going to tell them how I feel about Mike Tomlin. If you want to take that and run with it and say I'm, angling for some sort of next team or something, I'm not. I'm just answering a question about my respect for Mike and what he's accomplished in the league. And same for, I talked about Ben. A lot of respect for everything he's accomplished over the years. And, yeah, I mean, there might be other, stories similar to this, but I mean, there was, I guess, the last 2 weeks, Niners, there was conversation, obviously an icy handshake kind of between Kyle and Matt, and they obviously had a conversation around draft day, and there was rumors about that, and then I say something nice about Mike. I mean, I think Cincinnati's pretty safe because, they got a good young quarterback, and I don't think they're really interested in that, in the old bull. They got the young calf right now. They don't want the old bull,
Sees my sweat down to my... Yeah, when she wants to take a ride. Go ahead, AJ.
I got two-parter here. You mentioned earlier you had some good interactions with coaches you like. You don't have to name names, but what kind of interaction do you have with coaches when you guys don't get along or there's some animosity? And also, you said they just asked you a question about Mike Tomlin. Let's say a media member asks you about a coach or somebody that you don't really like. How do you answer that?
Bad boy, AJ. Thank you.
It'll probably be a short answer. Probably wouldn't be an expansion. I wouldn't talk about, laud their, many achievements in the league. I might just kind of skip right over that or angle it to, another part of the question I feel like I can divert my answer to. But I think that's part of question asking. Even when, you ask me some shitty questions or, Ty does. I can't put Ty in this category, but if Pat asks me something I don't really want to answer, or if Connor want to, I might, take some part of that and then just angle it a little bit to a different response. There's an art to saying a lot without saying a whole bunch, and I think that's where the realm you have to live in. If you're trying to be honest all the time and not cliche, you not have cliches all over your responses, then sometimes there's a question you can't really expand on. You got to kind of adjust your answer slightly.
Roger Goodell, greatest in the history at speaking without saying anything. Best ever. I mean, honestly, best ever. Every politician is dreaming of being able to not answer questions while giving detailed answers like Roger Goodell. It is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my entire life. Aaron, can we dive into my notes section from the game, please?
Yeah, let's do it.
First one. Why the fuck did I miss the first quarter and a half of the Packers and the Steelers because CBS was playing the Jets-Titans game? Did you know this was happening? Did you decide to save the greatness until we could all watch this thing? Did you hear about this?
I saw it, I think on Ty, maybe Ty had put out a tweet about it, so I think I saw that. I wasn't aware of that during the first quarter, so I apologize about that for all you who missed the first quarter. It wasn't that eventful, to be honest.
Yeah, anything? Nothing. Ben threw a touchdown, I seen. Yeah. That was a highlight. Did anything else happen? Were you guys finding a groove or no?
No, we had a miscommunication sack on our first third down, and then we punted, and we got the ball back and went down and got 7 at the beginning of the second quarter, which I'm
miscommunication
guessing.
with who?
Yeah.
Who's the miscommunication?
LaFleur, Gunther,
Mark Murphy?
Guys, I'm just here today to talk about power lift.
Excuse me. So sorry to interrupt. Hey! Did you know at the age of 30 your testosterone levels start dropping 1% per year? Wow! That means you're gonna get fatter, more tired, and lose the strength that you once had. But no worries, our friends at Roman have the perfect product for you, so you can get back to banging weights, banging humans, and living your best life. $15 off right now. Get Roman.com/USA. Back to the action. Hey, that was good diversion. Hey, that was really good what you just did right there.
I'm thankful for the rack that they sent. They're an incredible company that makes some incredible products, and I'm just here repping them out of love. Not getting paid for this. It's all love. That's
good communication. I mean, they kind of paid you. They sent you a rack, so depending upon what it costs. But no, we understand what you're saying there. Yeah. How do you know who's coming and who isn't on these exotic amoeba-like defensive fronts? Because Devin Bush got you on one, I think, and maybe this is the communication area you're referring to, and then it seemed to never happen again. How do you know? Is that all film study? Is that instinct? Is that feel? Is that giveaway? And if this is competitive advantage, feel free to tell me to go fuck myself and tell me about Powerlift again.
GFY. So what I love about Powerlift is together a product.
That's awesome.
No, it's about percentages, Pat. I mean, I think a lot of protection and decision making is choosing the highest percentage success probability. So when it comes to protection, when you play a team that brings a lot of exotic pressures, you have to rely on where your eyes go at the snap and where your best hot option is or adjustment to the route called is. So, the one time they got us in the first drive, I thought we were adjusting the protection to Devin, and the communication obviously wasn't where it should be, and he came, scot-free and sacked me. That didn't happen again. We had another time later in the game there in the base, and we had a 7-step job, an old school West Coast route called X-Shell across, and they had a 5 down front, so we were in a 5-on-5 protection. They brought Devin again. The back, that's the backs guy. In a 5-0 protection, the back has everybody else basically. And
of course.
So we, AJ, kind of missed that one, I guess, a little bit, and Devin got to me, but I was able to get the ball out quickly. But other than that, I thought the protection was really good.
Okay. Well, last question here from my, things here. Huge game for Cobb. Is that you guys just kind of getting back into the flow of things? Is that specific game plan? Or is this what we should potentially be looking forward to for the rest of the season with you and Cobb being back on the same page? I mean, massive third down pickups, a couple touchdowns. Seemed like you two were on a string in a couple different situations. There's stories coming out, obviously, about the Cobb selection and coming back to the team. This was something you looked for and you were hoping for. How come? Was this a big breakout game for Cobb this season, or is it just kind of the way the game unfolded?
I think it was a perfect storm in some respects, because with Marquez getting injured, that left us with Devontae Allen and Randall starting the game in 11 personnel. Randall, I saw, had an average of 16 snaps a game the first 3 weeks, which is just not enough for a guy who can really contribute. I know we're trying to, get him to the finish line. He's had some injuries the last couple of years, but he looks really healthy. He's been practicing really, really well, and I was hoping that he was going to get more opportunities because of Marquez's injury. This gave him a natural opportunity to play more snaps. And then the defensive plan for Pittsburgh was to not really leave Devontae one-on-one at any cost. Now, there were a couple times they did, and I think both those times I probably threw him the ball. We had an early go ball that I threw a semi-back shoulder to him, and then we had, third down late in the game where they played some weak 3-week coverage, and I threw him a 10-yard stop route to get a first down. So other than that, they wanted to take him out of the game and not let him beat us because he'd been averaging 12 or 13 targets per game. I think more. I think he had 18 targets last week against the Niners. So they knew, as anybody does who watches us on film, 17 is going to get a lot of looks. So because of that, because of Marquez's injuries, Cobb got a lot more opportunities. When we get more opportunities, I think the production is going to be there like it was a couple of days ago.
I don't know if you watched the Bucs-Patriots game on Sunday night, but Collinsworth was mentioned multiple times. Belichick's he's mixing it up at the line. He's not showing Tom like the same thing twice pre-snap. All this, and what can defenses do? I guess to try to confuse it. Oh, you've seen everything. That's what's like the old cliche to say about vet quarterbacks. But what can they really do? I guess to confuse you that they don't try every other week.
Well, it just depends. I mean, it depends on the approach and what they want to do. Some teams haven't really pressured us a whole lot. I mean, the first 3 weeks, not a lot of pressure from many of those teams. And then a couple of days ago, a lot of pressure. Pittsburgh, brought pressure consistently, not just 5-man pressure. There's a difference between, also the terminology too. A lot of people talk about, or in the breakdown, 5-man pressure is a pressure. I don't really consider a 5-man pressure at a base of pressure. It's just, it goes, when you categorize it with the film breakdown, it'll say, Sam at D or Will at 3, depending on, if they're an over front or an under front, a 3 down front. But to me, pressure is second level pressure. It's bringing a linebacker, bringing a nickel, bringing a safety. And we just haven't seen that a whole lot the last few years. But Pittsburgh, brought the nickel many times. They brought Bush a few times. They brought a safety. So they brought some pressures. I think the thing you got to remember that we always do is, or we try to remind ourselves is, when they do a breakdown, a 4 or 5 game breakdown going into each game, there'll be a lot of percentages in every single category. I'm talking about first, second, third down, the distances, get back on track stuff, backed up, high red zone, low red zone. And I always say you kind of have to throw out the numbers a little bit when you're playing veteran quarterbacks because a team might come in like the Saints and average, close to 50% pressure over the last 3 or 4 games, and then pressure us 2 or 3 times the entire game. A team might come in averaging 15% pressure and just say, for whatever reason, we are going to play man and bring 5-man pressure the entire game, and then the stats will be totally skewed. So it really comes down to defensive coordinators who don't just run their stuff, who really tailor their plan specifically to who they're playing and what they're trying to take away. This is the Bill Belichick philosophy that him and his disciples have kind of passed around the league for a while. Those teams will definitely not play to kind of their tendencies as much as other teams.
So the Steelers, Mike Tomlin told us that Josh Allen expected a bunch of pressure probably that week 1, and he probably wished for it, so we chose not to. That was his actual answer to us in there. So I think Tomlin's a similar guy, especially against a quarterback that he has the utmost respect. And to your point, Zach Cruz actually tweeted this. I screenshotted it. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers dropped back to pass 40 times versus Steelers defensive pressure front. He was only under pressure 10 times. 77 dropbacks, only 15 under pressure the last 2 weeks with Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins out there. Is that because of how efficient the offense is? Is that because of audibles? Is that because everybody being on the same page? Or is it just you guys are really rolling right now?
It's that, but it's also most teams that have fronts like those 2 teams we played, Pittsburgh and San Fran, they expect to get home with their front 4. And they do a lot, so they don't need a pressure. That's teams that don't have the same type of athletes on the outside will probably pressure a little bit more. But when you have San Fran, you can line up, Bosa and D Ford and Armstead. You're going to get pressure. Pittsburgh, and you can line up, TJ and Melvin and Cam, you're going to get pressure. So you don't necessarily need to bring those extra guys. Now they brought some slot pressures and some backers, more than maybe the numbers showed. But when you have a good front four, the best defenses, as we've seen over the last couple decades, are teams that can get after you with your front four and drop seven and play coverage.
TJ definitely tripped you, by the way.
No doubt.
How do you feel about?
But I was questioning myself actually a little bit because I stepped in the pocket to Cam, got a good rush kind of off my left, and A.J. Dillon was running an angle route and was wide open for a touchdown. I mean, they stepped up to move away from Cam and to throw it to him. When I was about to throw it to him, I felt getting tripped, and it was one of those awful things. The only thing worse than getting tripped like that is getting stepped on, like trying to get out from center and then you're falling down. It looks really awful. It looks super unathletic. This one looks slightly more athletic, not much. But what got me was I got up and I immediately went to the Whitecap and was like, that's got to be a trip, right? And he was like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And so when he was hemming and hawing, he throws the penalty. And then I'm not sure if he's talking to New York or upstairs, the replay. But the defensive guys start saying, no, you tripped yourself. You tripped yourself. Joe Hayden was saying that. Sutton was saying that. Edmonds was saying that. And for a second, it started creeping in and go, maybe I did. Maybe I did trip myself. And then when he picked up the flag, they still hadn't shown the replay yet, on the Jumbotron. He picked the flag up, and I was thinking, man, is that what it's come to? I'm in my 17th year, and I'm tripping myself, believing that I actually got tripped. And it was a real low moment for me. A tough couple seconds kind of turning and walking back to the huddle. Then I heard the boos raining down, and I looked up, and I was like, okay.
Thank God. Thank God.
It was such a rush of just joy and relief that I wasn't that unathletic guy yet who trips himself and thinks somebody tripped him.
Let's talk about Whitecap real quick before AJ has another one. I apologize, AJ, for the back-to-back here, but I have a lot of interesting thoughts that I would like to hear from Aaron Rodgers. The refs. Okay, obviously your interaction there with the Whitecap, I don't know. He's saying, and maybe he's getting information in there, and you obviously can't say anything. Joey Bosa came out last night and actually said that a ref was blind, had to be blind. I have no idea how that happened. Said that publicly. He's going to get fined for that. You can't say that. You're the reigning MVP of the NFL. How do you think we fix the officiating thing? And is it a problem that needs to be fixed in your eyes, in your interactions with these refs?
I don't think so. I think it's a really tough job, first and foremost. I think it is a really tough job. I think we can help them, but we need more people in that conversation on what the best way to do it is. Right now, there's a rules committee, right? And that's made up of owners, and then they give the recommendations down. And I think there maybe needs to be some more players involved. The biggest problem, in my opinion, I think most people can agree with this. If we think about some of the best refs from the last couple of decades, right? And I'm obviously slightly biased, but the majority of them are on TV, right? I'm talking about, Gene Senatore on TV, and Terry McCauley's on TV, and who's the guy from last night who's on the
John
ESPN?
Perry.
John Perry, Dean Blandino, Mike Pereira. These are guys who are really, really, really talented referees, but they're getting paid more on TV than they would by the league. So we're hurting ourselves, I think, as a league by not having the best of the best who move on still be associated in a way where New York has to rule on some of these plays, and we're not going back to the best of the best. I think the last couple, guys that we've had in that position, we're not anywhere near as talented as the guys that I just mentioned. But the issue is TV's paying these guys a lot more than the league does. So if the league wants to clear things up, maybe taking these stud reps who have moved on and retired and putting them in a position of influence that can clean up some of the mistakes that are made. And it's not a lot of mistakes, but one or two, in important times, that's when the conversation gets amped up and everybody's talking about this thing. I don't believe we have a referee problem. I love the fact that there is, the human element in it. But in ways that we can help them with those bang-bang calls and those important reviews, I think it's important that we have the best of the best in the booth making those, aiding with those decisions.
I think Gene Steratore offered more money and less stress. And same with Blandino, Pereira, John Perry. Hey, we'll double your income. And also, you don't have to worry about getting booed out of a fucking stadium anymore. You'll actually get cheered whenever you come on and say, these refs are wrong, actually. I don't know how you turn that. You're right. I don't know how they stop doing that. I would do it every single time. Sorry, AJ, go ahead.
Well, what can they do other than just raising their salary? I know Pat and I had talked about that earlier, I think last week. But yeah, if you make the salary bigger, there's going to be a bigger pool that want to become officials. But would you do anything with technology or anything? Like, what could you add?
I mean, it's tough because you don't really want to go down the route of being able to adjust subjective calls. You know, they tried to do a little bit with pass interference, and it became kind of a fiasco because it was like, what is the determining factor? How much contact is enough contact, or how much is not enough contact to either pick up a flag or throw a flag? It's tough with those some more subjective calls. There are objective calls, but still, I think the majority of the calls that happen in a game are subjective calls. They're, it's holding. What is holding? I think it can get into the subjective realm, play to play. Interference, illegal contact, block in the back. Some of these calls, not as
taunting. God, this is the worst.
Yeah, I mean and that's coming from the rules committee that doesn't involve players having recommendations on that. It's the same thing when they changed all the off-season stuff, and you have these lawyers who wouldn't allow us to use a football for the first 2 weeks of camp. And it's like, who wrote this stuff? I mean, who is sitting there going, okay, first 2 weeks, no footballs. So we're at football practice. Yeah. And we can't use a football. No. Okay, so then what do we do?
You act like you have a football.
Well, if we let you use a football, then people are going to abuse it. And everything has to be crystal clear in this disclosure agreement. Okay, cool, awesome. Okay, we're still playing football though, right? Yeah. Well, you know what? If you're a kicker or punter, you can go over to a high school and actually use one of their fields. But we're not going to insure you injury-wise if you go over there and hurt yourself. Oh, it makes sense. Perfect sense. Yeah.
I remember thinking, so this place that has a net, security, equipment managers that can help me get better. I'm not allowed to kick here for 2 weeks. I have to go to a high school that has probably no net. Not that I need security, but potential other people on the field and everything like that, because that benefits me. That's good for me? Yeah, it's good for all players. It's good for you, you're a player. That's good for you. Oh, okay. That makes fucking sense. All right, yeah. I'm not coming for the first 2 weeks. I'm gonna be somewhere. I'm gonna be somewhere else kicking balls. I guess there's a lot of those. That's when the legalese get involved, when there's a human element involved. You know what I mean? And that's everything in this world, not just the NFL. By the way, we're dealing with that everywhere else that we go into business with. And what's the worst thing that could potentially happen or has happened before that has potentially fucked somebody over in the past? Okay, well that has to be a part of the contract now. Well, now you're also taking out like the day-to-day. Hey, I'll do this because we have a good deal. Shit, it's a different time in the world. Aaron, you got to be here now, though. You got to be here now.
You're right, man. I'm so glad you read that book too. That's really meaningful to me. You're becoming such a reader.
Well, I'll tell you what. This is the first book I've ever heard of that is a fucking calendar, though. You know what I mean? Like, you got to turn this son bitch sideways.
It's a picture book, man. It's an easy read. You only have to read a few dense pages. Everything else is beautiful artwork.
Is that English? What is that?
Well, that's interesting because it is a couple of these, and I have enjoyed his writings, by the way. Shout out to Ram Dass. I have enjoyed the hell out of his writings. It's kind of like those 3D photos, where there's a bunch of things on it. You cross your eyes and then like something pops up. A couple of these pages, you got to do that to find the words that are being hidden by like goats and donkeys and shit. So it has been a little bit of that. You know what I mean? You have to kind of close your eyes. But the messaging is amazing, and we'll get to the Aaron Rodgers book club here in a little bit. Still more conversation. Obviously, go ahead, Ty Schmidt.
Aaron, going back to your athleticism, I mean, you turned the Jets on and dusted T.J. Watt off the edge there for that touchdown. Thought you were going to get another one later in the game with Randall there. Are we looking at maybe a little more zone read option next week and for the rest of the season? And also, given your proclivity for Game of Thrones, have you seen the new trailer for the Targaryen prequel that's coming out?
Are you in it?
Yeah, and what episode will you be on it?
If I'm in it, I'll be in the penultimate episode. I'm kind of a penultimate guy.
Good words.
The Office, and Game of Thrones. I don't want to be in the last episode. No, second to last. Second to last. Well, I will say this. I did hear this morning. I was very, very excited to hear that. They track us with these, speed trackers, right? And Coach Giaz, strength coach, said that I had the highest acceleration.
Woo!
No big deal.
I said, what was that, like 23 miles an hour? He said, well, it was about miles an hour, and you weren't that high in that. But the acceleration change was really good. I said, I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna share it with Pat and the boys. So
Explosive. You're explosive.
Really proud of that. Yeah. No, I would have loved to hit Randall on that one, but look, every now and then you run it in. The best part about the rushing touchdown that probably not many people would see or know was I ran in the end zone. I did a little ode to Jimmy Graham spike, and then a little tiny belt that nobody really saw. And Randall was on my right, and he kind of pointed at the stands, to take the Lambeau leap. And I said, that's way too high. that's too high. I can't do it. So my apologies to the front row there. It just wasn't the right game. I wasn't ready. I didn't. I got to wait till I'm back. Into power lift, getting 400 on the bar again. Once I'm back in those numbers, I'll be ready to.
Hey, I'm sick of hearing this. Okay, did I trip myself? He's saying I can't get up. I'm gonna look like Schefter doing the Lambeau leap. He's thinking after having what's that? What's that?
I never said that. I didn't mention it looking like a unathletic, weak chin, no ass.
Got him.
Hey, you said it.
Anyways, you need to stop dotting yourself. You're underneath that squat rack. You're all the way fucking back, dude. You didn't trip
Explosive as
yourself.
ever.
You're explosive. You're the most explosive guy on the field on Sunday. Let's go, dude.
I think I shot my load there, getting out of the pocket. I didn't have a whole lot left.
It's very timely.
A whole lot left, man.
Speaking of shooting a load potentially too quickly, you don't have to speak about this, but it has been a topic of conversation.
Nice transition.
On this particular show. I mean, honestly, it was the first thing I thought of. Okay, if you had to talk about the differences between coaching in college and coaching in the NFL, would one of the biggest things not be when you're talking in the NFL, you're talking to your peers whenever it comes to football IQ, drive, being around, maturity, everything like that. It's much harder to potentially lie to an NFL locker room than maybe a college locker room that's a little bit younger, and also their entire futures are controlled by the person that's talking. Isn't communication like one of the biggest things a head coach is going to have if he makes his way into the NFL? And didn't we all think that going from college to NFL is going to be difficult if you try to treat people differently? Rumors out of Jacksonville, and this has nothing to do with you, but I think you can paint the overall picture about what an NFL locker room is, that Urban tried to, allegedly, this is sources, tried to lie about the situation basically, and the entire locker room laughed him out of meetings, allegedly. They're like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, that is not the case. Would coaching in the NFL be vastly different than college because of that little thing that probably happens on a daily basis, that the people you're talking to are just grown-ass men? Is that not something that should be considered when you take a job in the NFL?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, good. Aaron
It definitely should be. I think one of the biggest differences is in college, you call your coaches coach. In the NFL, you call them by their name. Now, that might seem like a small detail to some, but it's not to those of us who played. And the understanding is there's not a fear. There's a fear in college that this person controls my ability to move on and play this game professionally. And in an instant, I can go from a first-round pick to an afterthought, and this person could trash me to any team calling. So there is a healthy fear. I never had that with Coach Tedford. I called him Coach, but I had a ton of respect for him. And the way that he brought it every single day and led, he treated us like men, and there wasn't this weird I'm your superior authoritarian deal. It was, and it wasn't this rah-rah bullshit too that you see a lot coming out from a lot of it. It was very like direct and relatable stuff, and that's why I think everybody that played for Coach really appreciated that. But in NFL, it's Matt, and it's Nathaniel, and it's Luke, and it's some guys go by their last name, Steno and Butkus and Ben Sermons and and Vrabel. It's like you don't, it's not coach this and that. So and it's not the disrespect. It's just that we are professionals. We are both getting paid professionally to do this. I'm getting paid and you're getting paid, and we're both going to respect each other and respect the roles. You're coaching, I'm playing, but there's a level of respect that's earned in the league, and it's earned through communication and honesty and work ethic and discipline, and that's not given freely. I think in college, this is just automatic. Like, I got to respect and fear my coach because he can make one sweep of his hand and I'm out of here. NFL, it's like, nah. Can't do that.
You're probably going to be gone before me, dog. And that's what I was talking about when we were talking about coming too quick. And I was talking about the potential urban era.
Right.
Coming too quick. Obviously, that's great transition. But I appreciate that answer because I think that is something in this, I don't want to dive. This is not your team, obviously, so I'm putting you in a terrible spot. He was not on the team plane after a game. Like, I don't even understand how that even happens. They're going to have to figure that whole thing out. It's wild. Going to be tough to get the locker room back, I think. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Aaron, you posted a pretty sweet photo of you getting introduced on Sunday. How awesome was that to be able to go back out there with the fans in the stands after not having them for a year during introductions?
Yeah, man, there's really nothing like it. We have a lot of music playing now in the tunnel, and there's the smoke and the green lights, which is cool. The thing that I do miss a little bit, kind of being there for so long, is there's nothing like that initial first few steps, and I always like to be just a tad bit early. I think that being on the other side where you're waiting for the guys to come out, it's always kind of weird when they introduce the person and it's like a beat and a beat. Oh, and then they come running out. So I'm always like on the front end of that.
Smart.
But when you exit that tunnel and you hear the ovation, man, it's a special feeling. But the cool thing too is that I like doing low fives on the way through, and to see the guys' faces when I am running through and then immediately transition, into the low fives through the lines is pretty fun. But there's nothing like that feeling when you get introduced, and miss that for sure. Being away from that for over a year.
Go ahead, Tone.
Aaron,
last question, by the way.
There was a moment pre-snap on Sunday where you and Arthur Mollett, number 35, he's the nickel. I believe you had to call a timeout, and then you guys were laughing after and talking. What happened there?
What did he didn't say anything like, wasn't he shit talking or anything. He was just, sometimes the defense thinks that you're calling a timeout because of something that they did or some look or something. And most of the time it's, hey, maybe we didn't even call a play in the huddle. We were just we were trying to waste some time, or maybe, we had a late substitution and we didn't have a play, or maybe it's, maybe every now and then the defense, the look that we got isn't great for the play, or maybe somebody's missing a line, or it could be a number of things, but I don't know. I love the interactions. That's what's so special about the game. Just breaking the huddle and hearing the chatter and making eye contact with certain guys. I mean, I had one of the best of all time to interact with, twice a year for a number of years, in Brian Urlacher, and I think that just he kind of scarred me because you compare everybody else to playing against him and the shit that he would say and how funny he was out there. But I do enjoy those interactions with the other guys. And it was, I don't know if you said, you guys, we were coming for you. Yeah, you caught a call timeout on that. And I don't know. It's just, okay, cool, man.
You were in their huddle at one point, I think during an injury. You were like in the defensive huddle almost, and they were zoomed in on your face, and you were just laughing and smiling. It looks like you're having the time of your life. And I want to let you know, I've been having a time in my life picking up on all these goddamn books. You know what I mean? As a kid, I never read a book. It was something I did not have an advanced reader level thing. I did not ever open the box of books I was given at West Virginia University whenever I was so fortunate to be on scholarship and they would give me my books. I never even opened the tape. I would return it in its exact fashion. But ever since the Aaron Rodgers Book Club has started, I've been reading through all these great books, from The Alchemist to Where Men Win Glory to The Giver to obviously Ram Dass's. This thing was awesome to read. Kind of put me in a nice mental state. And now it is time for one of the most anticipated things of the week for all of us insane book nerds. AJ Hawk and myself were trying to text last night to guess what this book's going to be. Ladies and gentlemen, the 5th installment, the 5th book of the Aaron Rodgers Book Club is marijuana.
The Four Agreements.
Oh, I thought that was dope. Is that dope?
It's not dope, bro. It's The Four Agreements. It's by Don Miguel Ruiz, and it's a staple for. Let me turn the light down here so you can see me a little better.
You do look good in there, by the way.
There we go. There we go.
It looks like that.
The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's a wisdom book. It's a simple read. It's 140 pages. You could easily read it in a week, Pat.
Of course.
But in this genre of self-help, it's a book that I think everybody can relate to. And there's 4 agreements, and this is not a spoiler alert because they're in the front. They're on the front flap. But it's be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. So very simple words of wisdom. But Don is a really good writer, and this book has been millions of copies have been read, and it's one that I always recommend for people. And they say, hey, I need a self-help book. What would you recommend? And I say, well, why don't you start with the 4 agreements because it can relate to just about any part of your life. And I think for me, in my own growth, the one that be impeccable with your word. I've always enjoyed, honesty, and that's such an important part of communication. But don't take anything personally is a great one that he talks about, and that's just the idea of being a victim or being sensitive about things said about you. And I think it's one that we all struggle with. I think that's the motivation for most comments on social media, that somebody has said something, and then somebody takes it personally, and then they have to fire back. It's this constant back and forth between people, but. The Four Agreements, fantastic book. This has been, this is a lot of pressure to have to do 18 of these. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I'm excited about it. I'm also excited how my books right here on the left side, I guess, just kind of intertwine with these over here with AJ.
yeah. And we're a big book show. This is a big book show. Aaron, I know you're feeling a lot of pressure because you only got 18 weeks, or that's a lot of weeks to pick out what the best book of the week is. And the Four Agreements sounds like I already read it. You just kind of broke it down for me, but I will dive into it. Of course, we might have the biggest book club going. And by we, I mean you. Legitimately. We checked out records and everything like that for the people that have bought the Aaron Rodgers Book Club shirt at store.patmcafeeshow.com, where all money will go to a reading advocacy group or a foundation of Aaron Rodgers' choosing. The amount of shirts that we've sold in comparison to what the records are for book clubs, I think you potentially have something like maybe the biggest book club going right now, dude.
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel good about it because, Oprah, I don't think it's doing maybe her book club the same. Obama has a lot of book recommendations I've seen over the years, but he's not president. So I feel like we are, we're the
premier.
We're the book club kind of out front right now.
Yeah, we're the premier book club.
I'm not sure who can rival us at this point, but I feel like
Andrew Cuomo might have one. He wrote a book too.
All right. Yeah. All right. Urban might as well, I guess.
That's Diggs' guy. Sorry, Aaron. That's Diggs'
yeah,
guy.
all right. Well, anyways, and look at the depth of the book club just in the first 4 weeks. You got The Alchemist, obviously about the universe.
Of course.
Right.
Where Men Win Glory, just like American Hero story of Pat Tillman. Let alone The Giver. Hey, the old man. Oh, man, the kid. Oh, my God. And then Ram Dass, the calendar book.
Wow.
And now we got the Four Agreements. I mean, let's go. Aaron, we can't thank you enough. I hope you had an incredible time. Can't wait to see what you go squat, maybe 400 today on the power lift. And we appreciate you, brother. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, man. I love the tank top as always, man. Looking good.
It's a sleeveless hoodie, actually. You see that? I have a hood on this one. It's blue because it makes, my wife said, makes my eyes look better.
You know, I feel bad, Pat. I did want to, bust something out real quick, but.
Wait, Bob Ritchie.
Come on! I was going to go back up.
Man,
I was
hey,
leading
that's good,
guitarist
though.
last week.
Hey, it's a good sign because he's going to eventually play. He's doing that to prime himself. One of these days, he's actually going to play a song.
Hell yeah. I'm a little worried about his lack of confidence in his physical ability.
Yeah, what the hell's that?
And he needs to start fucking strumming the guitar and get back in the game. All right? He's imagine him actually, because everybody on the stairs, you tripped yourself, dude. You tripped yourself. And him just going, did I? And then the ref going, I don't know. And then they review it. They review it, and they're like, no, yeah, you did. Oh, should I retire right now? Oh my God. And then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
I knew I was right.
Son of a bitch.
I knew I was right. Let's get to a break. We have to get to a break. That was awesome. Thank you all so much for your incredible questions and conversation and for listening. I mean, what an opportunity it is to talk to that fucking guy weekly.
Yeah.